Hello and welcome to Unprofessional Engineering. My name is James.
And you got Luke.
Luke, interview number 3 of day 3 here at Autodesk University
been a
2018.
Long 3 days.
It has been a long 3 days. I bet everyone online is so tired of our faces and voices.
Yeah,
At least
I'm sure.
mine.
Well, yeah, yours.
And now I'm just opening it up for them to say mean things. That's not nice. All right, so joining us today is Ann Pauley, AU Design Challenge winner.
Hi, guys.
So how exciting was winning that?
It was pretty exciting. It was actually a bigger deal than I thought it would be.
Really?
Yeah.
So you might not know this, but James and I were actually the two that actually developed the design challenge.
Awesome.
So I can't remember who on our team asked us to do that. Maybe...
I think Kimberly did.
Yeah, Kimberly
Stout.
asked us.
Shout out to Kim.
Yeah, she said, hey, by tomorrow I need you to come up with something. So it was a bit rushed. So if the rules and regulations that you were looking at didn't seem too well thought out, that's why. But yeah, so James and I were looking at, what could we do for something that Inventor users, Fusion users, something that would look cool, something that had some pretty cool regulations. And I love cheap IKEA flat pack furniture, and I've seen a bunch of that created in the past. So
yeah, so those who don't know, that was the challenge, was make a piece of, let's call it IKEA furniture, flat pack, out of what, 3/4?
Yep.
It was 3/4, so no screws, no nails. It all had to be like dovetail and all kinds of crazy. The cooler the joints, the better. And it had to be just something you could basically cut out of a flat sheet of plywood. And the cool thing was, so I saw all the submissions, and there were some
bunch of submissions.
amazing submissions, and I didn't see yours. And then the very last day we were looking at all the different options, and I saw an option. I was like, well, I didn't see that option, and then and so that's how you became the winner.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
So tell us what you thought about the AU Design Challenge. Did you think it was more difficult than it should have been? Did you think you had enough time to do it? Could your design have been better if you had more time, or were you pretty solid?
Well, it can always be better, but I thought it was really interesting. I'd never seen that design challenge before. It's definitely like a thing that's on a lot of people's minds, trying to flat pack large things like furniture, so that you can ship it more efficiently, use less energy, and obviously I live in California, so IKEA is everywhere.
And it's cheap.
Yeah.
This is fair.
So cheap.
So the question that I had was, how quickly did you make this? Because the design challenge window wasn't a very long window to begin with, and I'm pretty sure you got yours done pretty quickly from what I understand.
Yeah, I started one evening and then I finished the next afternoon. I kind of have a habit of sending like 20 cloud renders and then going to sleep. So I don't usually see if it actually looks good until the next day.
Oh.
Do we happen to have a place people could go to look at these? I believe there was a blog post about it.
Yeah, there
on
was.
The Inventor blog.
Yes, you check out the Inventor blog, or you just Google AU 2018 Design Challenge. I'm sure folks can find it. But describe the piece that you made and what the function was, because we were pretty loose. It could have been a table, a chair, and you kind of went a different direction that I didn't think. And I was expecting a bunch of chairs and tables,
Me
and
too.
you kind of did something different. So explain what your design was and kind of what some of the inspiration was behind it.
So ironically, I actually put in 2 entries. The first one was a chair.
Okay.
And
I decided that wasn't clever enough.
it wasn't clever enough.
Okay.
So I kind of decided to be a little snarky and take the plywood, probably CNC milled parts, and turn it into something that kind of resembled some more additive structure.
Okay.
So that's how I got the hexagon shape. So in case you haven't seen it yet, I did a seating booth that's 2 benches facing each other, and then the entire structure is hexagonal with a tessellated back screen on it that is a bunch of interlocking pieces of plywood. So the overall structure was hexagonal, and then the back was actually inspired by a design group called Nervous System that has done some really cool jewelry and 3D printed textile projects. There's actually a project of theirs in the Autodesk Gallery in San Francisco.
Okay.
So they kind of have this really distinctive triangulated design that's more rounded and more organic looking, but still tessellated.
And when you're describing your creation, I was just sitting there thinking, like, this seems like something that we could see in the San Francisco office.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
just put up in like one of those like hallways or off areas that people could hang out in and do some quick meetings.
So one of the things that I was hoping as a part of the challenge, and I don't think
Yeah.
it's going to happen, so whenever they asked us,
We
like, I
suggested
said,
this.
you know what would be really cool, guys, if whoever wins, we made their design and maybe put it in the gallery or in one of the offices. So who knows? Maybe we can convince them to do it.
We have a lot of pull at Autodesk because we're kind of a big deal. So
No, that's a negative.
No?
Yeah.
You kind of have some pull at Autodesk. Maybe your friends at Pier 9 might be able to, make something happen.
Yeah, so last year, fall 2017, I actually did an internship at Pier 9. So I was actually working in the CNC shop the whole time. But I kind of designed the whole structure so that you could put a whole sheet of plywood down on the shop bot and cut it out and then assemble it.
See, I don't want to be mean, but I was out of town when the voting for the winner was happened. And if I would have known that you were a Pier 9er, I would have tried to blackball you right there. But Luke felt strongly about it.
No. So if she was a current Pier 9er when she submitted, then that probably would have broke like the rules. But the design, basically I'm
really
guessing your
cool.
Pier 9 experience probably gave you a ton of background on this is how I actually would do it. You talked about, you worked in the CNC shop the whole
I would do it.
You would.
See what you did there?
I see what you did
That was
there.
very clever.
So I initially I was like, no, she used to intern, but then it was like, how long ago is that? That was
A year ago.
Yeah, so it was over a year ago, and she's done some amazing stuff since then. So
Okay.
I felt that we had to reward the effort.
I'm okay with it. So I did a little bit of creeping on you before, so that I
lovely.
could, get to know you a little bit for this interview. And it turns out that not only are you a fellow Penn State alum, so that's pretty cool.
Go Panthers! What is it?
Boo.
We're just going to ignore that one. And you also have done, you've been busy. You've had internships with Autodesk. You also had one with Disney, which is pretty cool because I am told it's the happiest place on earth, something like that.
I think so.
Did you get to meet Mickey Mouse?
I did get to meet Mickey Mouse in his many outfits.
That sounds pretty epic.
He is all over the place.
He is all over the place. Now, what kind of work did you do there?
I was doing CAD work for Imagineering, and the focus of my internship was doing mechanical design for animatronic figures
So
that
Pirates of
will
the Caribbean
eventually go
stuff.
into the park.
Did you work on a specific ride, or you can't say?
I can say that it's coming out in 2019.
Oh,
Coming
this
to a
is
park
so
near
cool.
you.
You are the worst.
This-
Come on.
This is so cool.
Could you imagine like knowing this information? Because I'm a huge Disney fan, and Star Wars, and
There are a lot of those.
my daughter wants to go to the Harry Potter, whatever it's called, Wizarding World.
I
So
think that's Universal, but that's cool.
I know, but the idea is the fact that you know this, it's gotta like be eating you up inside that you can't tell anybody.
Yeah.
When we get off the air, you can tell us.
I think just being able to say, like, yeah, I was an Imagineer is pretty much the greatest thing ever. I'm
Yeah.
very jealous
Yeah.
about that. So you're currently working now at a full-time, not internship job, is that correct? And this is
Correct.
at Fathom?
It's about time, by the way.
We're tired of all your internships.
I'm kidding.
Yeah. So I was in college for 6 years, and then I finally got out. I did
6
a
years.
bachelor's and master's.
But you did that on purpose.
I did do that on purpose.
James was in
And-
college for 6 years. Interesting story, and
It's
it
okay,
wasn't
it's
on
okay.
purpose.
This is not accurate, but thank you, Luke. So you actually dual majored as well, right?
Yeah, I did. I did dual bachelor's in mechanical engineering and music.
How has the music thing helped you? Don't say it hasn't.
I
Come
do.
on.
I do still play, not as much as I used to when I was a full-fledged music major, but definitely the creative side has been important. So a lot of places like Disney look for people that might be able to show a more creative side.
See, this is what's wrong with us, Luke. We don't have We don't have that background of being creative.
We don't. So at your current gig, describe the type of work they do and what you're actually doing there on a day-to-day.
So Fathom was actually one of the coolest companies I'd never heard of. I actually learned about them shortly before I started working there. And
Okay.
So we're located in Oakland, California, so Bay Area. And there are actually a lot of different sides to the company. The company started 10 years ago as a Stratasys printer reseller, so 3D printers.
Okay.
And then we kind of developed more and then added a production side to the company, since a lot of people may not want to buy a huge Stratasys printer, but they might want to print some parts for a product they're developing. So then that part of the company got added. And then a lot of the people who were buying the printers didn't know how to use the printers. And so we started sending people with the printers to help people learn more about them. And then we also added a CNC shop to the company. So we have both the additive and subtractive sides
pretty
of
cool.
manufacturing. Super great. As I said when I was working at Pier 9, I was working in the CNC shop. So I like both the additive and the subtractive side. And then the team that I work on was, again, another direction that the company branched off into, which is doing design projects. So I work on the design and engineering team, which is 4 mechanical engineers, 1 industrial designer, and then a couple alumni and part-time people that are also really talented engineers and designers that work with our group. And we take on a lot of projects from large companies that might need more manufacturing experience than what the team that the project is assigned to might have within their group. So those are the kind of projects that we look for and we take on.
Okay.
So what kind of software are you using for this? Are you actually using Fusion there, Fusion 360, or are you just an enthusiast still with that?
Well, so obviously both my Autodesk internships were with Fusion. So I have years of experience working in Fusion at this point. So I actually do use Fusion quite a bit because it's really agile for doing surface modeling and using imported geometry, and having the mesh editing right there in the same program is really handy. So I do a lot of T-spline manipulation.
Sign up
You
for
as
it.
a nuclear engineer bothers me.
I know, it doesn't seem like
It doesn't
a
even
great idea,
sound
right?
like a good idea.
It
Just
doesn't.
saying.
Well, I had a hard enough time finishing 2 majors.
Just toss another one on
3
top
would have
of it,
been a
right?
lot.
Hold on. I have a game. Me and James have to guess what instrument you played, and you have to tell us who's right. I'm guessing guitar.
Clarinet.
He's closer. I have tiny fingers.
Okay.
What can I
look
play
at
with
that.
tiny fingers?
Piano? No, not piano.
A recorder?
Not piano. Very much not piano.
the opposite of piano.
What's the opposite of a piano?
I don't know what the opposite.
A flute?
Yes.
Flute. Okay.
I win again. Okay, one more Penn State related question. Not related to anything Autodesk University. You ready? What are your
I'm ready.
feelings about the women's volleyball team and their chances this year? Because I did see they beat pesky Nebraska, and I don't know if you follow women's volleyball
I don't.
at all.
It's very important
Penn State's
that we
kind of a
beat
big deal.
Nebraska. I'm actually a huge women's volleyball fan because I was in the band that played for the women's volleyball games for 5 years, which is a long time.
Yeah.
It's a lot of volleyball games. But yeah, Penn State just beat Nebraska this season. It's kind of a big deal. We hadn't beat them for a couple years. It was kind of a bummer, especially since I have a lot of family in Nebraska, and they
Oh,
can
even
get
better.
very sassy.
Yeah, I may have been to a number of games in my time at
Okay.
Penn State. They're always very good.
They are amazing. I think we're number 7 right now.
Yeah, and it's coming
the
up here in a
NCAA.
couple days, I think, to wrap things up. So my money's on Stanford. Who do you think?
Ooh, I don't know. I
See,
think
we're in Vegas, so my money.
Sassy.
Sassy.
So
But right now BYU is number
Yeah.
one. They've been number one
You
for
don't
a
want to pick
while.
the favorite.
Although I went to nationals a couple years ago with the band, and we beat BYU.
There we go.
So
I think that's a sign.
it is. So last question, what has been, I mean, obviously other than winning the award, what's been your favorite part of Autodesk University this year so far?
Probably my favorite part is just after the classes are done and all you have to do, all that's on your schedule is just meet up with people and talk to people and, meet up with old friends, meet new friends.
Okay.
I think that's great. I think that's a pretty common theme between people.
Yeah.
People meeting other people.
I feel like the
seeing
networking
people,
is one of the biggest things that, as great as the classes are and all the stuff that you're learning, just meeting people, and I'm sure being on the podcast was a highlight as well for you. You don't have to say that.
That was nice of her to agree, though. All right, so they're about to open up the doors here in the expo at Autodesk University 2018, so I think that means it's time for us to call it quits. And thanks a lot for joining us. This is
Thank
really
you.
cool. Hopefully you're back again next year at Autodesk University 2019.
Thanks,
Sure.
everybody. Have a good day.